We'll give it about 5 more minutes until 7:05. Just waiting for some others to get in, and we'll get the meeting started right away. But for all of those who are here with us right now, Jazakallah khair. Thank you for joining us. We're really excited to have you today because this is going to be a really important discussion. Once again, it's another seminar on careers. So inshallah, we can gain some insight and maybe some inspiration from our guest speakers. And inshallah, will influence some people to pursue a career in IIT. So thank you for all joining us. And if you know anybody who could benefit from the value of this conversation today, whether it's someone who's thinking about going to school for IT or someone who's maybe trying to figure out their own career path, or even to teach someone in high school right now, make sure you can share this link to them and invite them to join us as well today, because inshallah, I think everyone can benefit from this. So thank you to everyone who's here so far.
Ahmed.
So inshallah 7:05 we should start, or 7:06. Assalamu alaikum. Afad, how are you? How's everything? Good, good. How's everything? How's Ahmed?
Ahmed is here. I'm asking him. Ahmed.
Yeah, we were just talking earlier, catching up, and I hope everything's good with everyone. Zainab and Ahmed and Hayat.
Zoom, come. Somebody say salam to you. Zoom.
If you can join, that would be lovely. And
Hey, salam alaikum.
Salam, how are you, man?
I'm chilling.
Good,
How you
good.
been?
Good.
Alhamdulillah. It's good to hear.
For those who are in,
yeah.
Sorry?
I'll be around in a bit, inshallah.
For sure.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. That's good.
Alhamdulillah.
How many people so far? 20.
So far, we got 19. We got 19 participants. We're hoping to get more, get people rolling as the event goes on. Very important topic. Tech is one of the biggest growing industries. Assalamu alaikum.
They are doing YouTube. What's that announcement?
Assalamu alaikum, Haneen from Calgary. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi, brother Haneen. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are
Thank you for joining. Barakallah.
And thank you for inviting us.
It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining us. Yeah.
People from Calgary, mashallah, they're very, very active, and you're always with us. Barakallah fikum. Just to let everybody know, the YouTube channel is also on running. If you have any problems with the Zoom, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you so much. Jazakum Allah khair.
Jazakallah khair. Okay, so Jazakallah khair, you guys. Thank you so much for waiting. Anyone else who's going to be joining us will be joining us a little bit later, but we don't want to make you guys wait. So thank you for waiting. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Marwan. Some of you may know me, some of you may not know me. And I'm here joined with my brother Osama here today. And on behalf of CEYD, we'll be presenting to you something that we feel is really important, especially for our community, which is exploring careers in technology and IT. And alhamdulillah, we're glad to be joined by some really special guests today. And we have 3 of them joining us. These are 3 people who are from our community, who pursued a career in IT or technology. And alhamdulillah, we're very, very proud to see where they have come. And I think that they have a lot of experience and insight that they can share with us. And hopefully, like I said earlier, can inspire somebody, at least one person, one child in this presentation. So this will be essentially the topic that we want to discuss today. And I'll give it off to Osama, and we can kind of further introduce our topic today.
Thank you, Marwan. If you can just go to the next slide. Yeah, so for introduction, we're just going to be talking about our COID career info sessions. As you guys know, we try to have monthly seminars, and these seminars are broken down into 2 categories: the professional development and then the career seminars. So for this month, it's going to be focused on careers. Our previous career info session was on healthcare. That was a great success. We had a lot of amazing speakers come out and talk to us about what it took to get into their respective careers, whether they're doctors, nurses, or pharmacists. And so we try to cater towards careers that are, big, growing, or highly in demand. And we realize that tech is one of the fastest growing industry right now in terms of jobs being produced. And so it goes without saying we had to do a career info session on careers in tech. And so we'll just go over sort of a little information about careers in tech and sort of the trends and trajectories of today and the upcoming 5 years. Then we'll have our guest speakers, Sami Burhan, Sadat Berhe, and Khalid Wasaq, who will be speaking about their respective careers and, their journey into becoming, respective IT professors, senior analyst, or software engineer. Then we'll have a Q&A session at the end where if you didn't get a chance to ask any questions earlier, you would be able to do so towards the end. Maybe you've thought of the question or you want to formulate exactly how you're going to ask the question. You can actually ask at the end. And also you can always ask throughout the presentation through the chat functionality, and me and Marwan will be sort of facilitating that, reading out the questions to the designated speakers. And then we'll finally have a conclusion. And in the conclusion, we'll just talk about how to reach us, the organization. As you know, we're on multiple platforms, social media, and the likes. So if you can go to the next Marwan slide. Thank you. So, as I said earlier, this is our second career info series. Part 1 was on the health industry, and this one will be on the IT and industry. Obviously, we want to tackle other industries such as art. And under arts, there are many, prospective careers. We have journalism, we have creative writing, we have blogging, we have visual artists, illustrators, and many more. We also have careers in education. Goes without saying. We have many teachers in our community. I know my sister is one of them. She's a teacher. So careers in education, teachers, professors, childcare educators, and the likes. We already had a career in sciences and healthcare, where we had a scientist who works for the government of Canada come speak, Dr. Samir, as well as doctors, pharmacists, and nurses. We'll then try to have a career info series on focusing on careers in law or law enforcement. So I believe we do have a police officer in the community. So we're trying very hard to get him to come out and speak. We also have lawyers, and people generally in politics who are running with any respective governments, whether provincial or federal. And then last but not least, we'll have a career in tech in business. This involves anything in finance or accounting, so commerce, as well as business management, so consultants. And so, like I said, today we're going to be focusing on careers in IT specifically. Perhaps I'm thinking we're going to have a part 2 specifically designated to engineering, because realize that engineering and IT are sort of different and separate, and you really need 2 series to give them their due diligence. So careers in tech. So let's just talk about some of the careers in tech real quick. Maybe the speakers will elaborate more on this topic, but I just wanted to give you a brief overview. So the highest projected growth rate at 344%. So this is a field right now, not only people in an industry, but academia are trying to get their foot in, is artificial intelligence. As you all know, technology devices, they're all getting smarter. And so you require, people to be able to design these systems, and to improve on these systems for future use. So this is a big field that's growing both in academia and in industry. Careers like data scientists, information security analysts, and software engineers are growing rapidly as well. And you can see the respective pay, right? So they pay big bucks to know sort of the ins and outs of these industries. So it's something to look forward to, especially if you're looking for job security, good income, comfortable income to support a family. That's always important as well. So if you can go to the next slide, we'll just look at some trends in more detail. So as I said earlier, the top growing trends in the technology sector, artificial intelligence by far is leading, right? At 355% growth. Jobs in artificial intelligence include machine learning engineers, data scientists, analysts, and basically a person in IT who really focuses on researching, building, and designing self-running artificial intelligence, robots or robotics. I know you guys have these gadgets like Siri, where you just ask them a question, they're able to respond. So devices like that use artificial intelligence, and it's heavily sought after in many different industries, specifically also in the healthcare industry. I know there's big research in terms of using robotics for surgeries and fields like that. Second on the list is IT security. I don't know about you guys, but me personally, lately my phone's been ringing with calls from India and China. People just calling in, maybe trying to get my money, but they're pretending to be the government. And for people who are not technically savvy, they can easily be carried away and perhaps follow up with these calls and perhaps go on certain websites, and hackers who are working under these actually firms are capitalizing on the ignorance of a lot of people who don't know much about the IT or IT security and don't know how to secure themselves. So IT security, specifically when it comes to the financial industry, is booming. So it's expected to grow at a 31% rate in the next 5 years. It goes without saying, software engineering, if you're a person who loves, you're a creator, but more of a technical creator, you like creating apps, websites, and just softwares that are used on computers. You want to design an Excel spreadsheet or the next Microsoft Excel. That's something to look into. So there's a 22% growth rate associated with that. And a lot of it comes from also tech startups. where they heavily use software engineering to build out their products. And then we finally have IT management. Every company now needs IT representative. So IT managers is someone who's basically responsible for the overall performance of the company's electronic networks and leads sort of the IT department in fulfilling whatever they need to do. So making sure if you're working at a restaurant, the whole till system works, the payment system works within the restaurant. This is just one example. If you can go to the next slide. Yes, so I know there's always the conventional way of learning or getting into tech. So that includes getting some sort of degree or certification or diploma. Those are the standard methods. But because of the growth and boom within the tech industry, there's such a high demand that there are people who are transitioning from other careers non-related to tech into the tech industry or tech field. And there's many different ways to do that. If you're someone, for example, who didn't study like a technical degree and wants to jump into work in the future in something technical, or you're someone who's studied overseas and your degree is not really getting you anywhere here, or if you're also a student who studied here in a technical in an institution where you studied something technical, these are all ways you can improve or grow at, or get into the technical industry. So we'll just highlight some of these methods, right? I'll start off by explaining sort of boot camps. Boot camps are sort of a 3-month to 6-month intensive in-classroom training program where you're in class every day for 12 hours, from anywhere from 5 to 12 hours, and they're just grilling you on content and developing a portfolio of projects where you're able to showcase to employers that you're able to work within the technical field that you've studied in. So it's very intensive, and the goal is really to get you a job coming out of just 6 months. Some famous boot camps include Lighthouse Labs, Brain Station, Juno Labs, and Empower. Empower is actually free. And so for those who are maybe low income earners or don't have the $10,000 to $13,000 to spend on one of the more reputable boot camps like Lighthouse Labs or Brain Station, then Empower is a way to go. And they offer courses such as software engineering, software development, data analysis, data science, and the likes. So I'll give it up to Marwan to sort of talk about the online courses.
Yeah. So in addition to those kind of formal ways of learning or getting into technology, so whether it's going through undergrad or a college certificate program, or even the option to do boot camps or professional certification, these are all formal ways of learning IT and technology. But there's also informal ways, and these opportunities in large part are actually free. They're easy to access, and a lot of these different resources are online or very close in your community. So the first example I want to talk about is online courses. I'm not sure if anybody here is familiar with websites like Khan Academy or LinkedIn, which is a social platform, social media platform, but they also have courses that can help you to improve yourself in your career, learn different skills. And a lot of the courses that they offer are things like web design, things like software engineering, and you can even learn the basics of things like coding, which is essentially the staple of creating websites and apps. So you can actually learn this information from free online courses like these ones listed here, and these are some of the most popular ones. So Coursera, LinkedIn, Udemy, and Khan Academy are some things that, if you're interested, take note of these resources and take a look at them afterwards today. In addition to those online courses and websites that you can get help from, You can also get involved in tech by going to your community library, your public library. I was working at Markham Public Library before, and we had a plethora, a wide range of coding classes. We had digital resources to help people actually use our computers, state-of-the-art brand new computers with the programs on them. So if you ever needed to practice or work on something, you have that opportunity to do it without buying the technology yourself and bringing it to your home. In addition, like I mentioned, there's coding classes and programs that you can actually sign yourself up for, or your kids. With technology, I mean, I think the best thing you could do, the earlier you start, the better. So in my community in Markham, I did notice that a lot of the successful communities had their kids, young kids, 5, 6, 7 years old, even 8 years old, in these coding programs. And like I said, I think the earlier you start, the better, but no matter what, you shouldn't let anything limit you. These resources are available and they are there if you look hard enough. So if anybody has any additional questions regarding these different ways to learn about tech, reach out to us and we'll make sure to help direct you to the right place because we know a lot about these different resources. So overall, these are some of the different ways that people can get involved in information technology and learn about it, whether it's through formal ways like going to school and joining boot camps, or informal ways learning on your own at home. So we kind of suggest that if you're interested in this stuff, please take a look into it and get started right away. But yeah, so in addition, now we want to kind of move on to our first guest speaker. And Osama, please feel free to introduce our special guest.
Yes, so we're of course delighted to have Sami Burhan come and speak to us about sort of his journey into tech. He's an IT professor at Seneca College. So without ado, Sami Burhan, the floor is yours.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay, hi, my name is Sami Burhan. Working as an IT professor at Seneca College. And basically, thank you for the invitation. This is the first time that I'm talking to the community. Usually I joined some meetings, but it was like mainly regarding or related to job meetings or classes or curriculum development and so on. My background basically was like in database administration, right? So I worked like an Oracle database administrator, then Oracle ERP implementers, which is kind of enterprise application. Basically, I was in a track called supply chain management track, which includes some modules like procurements, inventory, order management, and kind of like business applications, right? After that, once I moved to Canada because I used to work in Saudi Arabia. Yes, I was working as an independent consultant. Then I joined Seneca College. So over there, I'm working like in cybersecurity as well as in cloud system because we work on Azure most of the time. And they do have kind of partnership with Microsoft. So they deliver most of these Azure courses, starting from the system administrations or building the virtual machines and so on to building applications. And as you, when you mentioned, we have the good things here in the colleges. They go back and check what is there in the market, what is the requirements, what is the requirements from the industry. So, and they go back to the college and develop courses, right? So they come up with even new programs, new bachelor degree, new diploma degree. So they do have bachelor in cybersecurity and another diploma course in cloud administrations and also in data science. There is no in Seneca, they do have since 2019 bachelor in data science. So I work with them also to develop courses, right? Basically in the cloud, because I'm coming from the database administration background, right? As well as security, cybersecurity, database security, and also threat analysis, right? Yeah, so this is basically all about the college environment or the tasks that I used to engage with.
Okay, that's very interesting. So, maybe if you can run through a little bit about your schooling. Did you study a degree in tech, maybe overseas? Like
Yeah,
starting
yeah.
from high school? Did you start from high school? Did you start from uni or college? What was sort of your journey?
Okay. So yeah, high school. The most that I did, it was like, because it was back in the day, like 1997, right? So it was
Yeah.
like a very basic and C. And then in the undergrad, because I did a bachelor degree in MIS, Management Information System. And then I did master in computer science. The master in computer science I did in distributed computing, which is basically like a big data and artificial intelligence. But back there, like in early 20, like 2001, 2005, 2006, it wasn't like a big deal because we didn't have the technology, right? But now with the cloud, and they do have a lot of computing power, these comes back. And also with the new programming languages like Python, and so many libraries are available now for the big data and data science. So most of this, the theory was available since long time, but now they put it into practice. So now there is a kind of a demand for this
Yeah.
kind of jobs, right? And as you mentioned, in data scientist, even in the health sector, they need it for robotic surgery and so on. But not only that, because we do have, I remember one of our colleagues, she left and she's working in Ontario Health Center, I think. So she's the data scientist tools manager. So one of the things that she used to do is develop some data for the decision makers, right? So one of the requirements, for example, it was like for those who went to the ER, right? They have to
Yeah.
wait, right?
Yeah.
So she said, okay, we pulled all the data like for 10 years, right? And we run a lot of algorithms, and then we can recommend, it is based on so many based on many variables, right? Number of doctors available, number of patients, times, okay, what times, and then they can recommend the patient that you can go back and come after 3 hours or 5 hours based on some of these data which is available. So this is also applied in part of the data science job, right? So they used to pull the data, right, and then run the algorithms through the machine learning and running some patterns, right, to come up with some valuable data which help the end user or the C-level, executive level, to make a proper decision, right? So yeah, so for that purpose, even the college comes up with the new bachelor degree, right? Not one or two courses, because it requires a lot of tools to work with, right? Beside the Python, there are so many tools. Even you need to know a little bit about, not a little bit, some level in knowledge in statistics and math, as well as science, right, which is required. So students has to go through this like for 2 semesters at least, right, before
Yeah.
moving and working with tools, right?
Yeah. So when you, I guess you did undergrad and masters. Did you do it in Canada, like
No,
here?
no, no, I did it in Malaysia.
Malaysia. Okay, interesting. And when you came here, did you have to upgrade, maybe go back? So you went to Seneca College, from what I understand, when you came here?
Yeah, no, I don't have to upgrade it because I just applied and I got like for a credit or accreditation of the degree
Yeah,
they
yeah.
accepted.
Okay.
So I don't have to
go
go
to
through, yes,
yeah.
to college or something like that. And then there was a need for instructor in databases, right?
Yeah.
And I do have some certifications from Oracle, right? And some others from Microsoft and so on, right? And these usually like typical or a universal one is the same certification, whether you wrote that certificate in Saudi or Canada.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I got into that job, but at the same time I got something in my field, but it was a contract, right? A short contract, so I didn't want to go uh, uh, through that route because it's good money, but again, you have to go and find another company after your contract ends, right, and so on. So I particularly prefer to go with the schools, right, somehow stable and secure.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
very interesting that you said that. Yeah, sorry, Marwan, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I do have a question.
go ahead.
So inshallah, today I can't see who exactly is participating in today's discussion, but we do have a lot of young people who are just trying to find their way and trying to figure out exactly what stream or what career path that they should take. And this is something I think even people like Osama and I, we've had to kind of come to grips with and figure out where we fit best, where our skills match up. So I do want to ask you, for any young people who might be listening today, how did you actually decide and how did you know that, you know what, this is the path I want to go down and I'm interested in computers and I do want to pursue this as a lifetime career?
Okay, interesting question. So basically, at the beginning, you might find yourself like quite spending some time in front of a computer doing a little bit of coding. That could tell you something that you might move to this field. But after you trying to explore the the, uh, the options that you do have in IT is a little bit confusing, right? Because you don't know, are you going to web development, full stack, security, databases. So these, I think, there's two. Okay, there are two variables here. The market, that's mean the requirements, the demands, right, might help you to, or might force you, in other words, to pick one field over the other one. And the other thing is the which is quite related, because some of the if you decided to go with the college degree, for example, some of these comes with the option of the co-op, right? So if you end up in a company where they ask you to do something related to full stack development, you're gonna find yourself somehow uh, competent, let's say, not at least comfortable, at least competent at that field, right? So that can move you to that specific field. But in IT itself, there are so many fields, right? So how to pick one, this is, you have to try yourself. That's why in many of these official learning, or let's say the college, right, you do have different optional courses to try yourself, right? Are you interested in coding? Then you can try that field, right? Maybe in administrations, right? But even in administration now, it includes a lot of scripting, right? So you cannot really skip the programming part. You have to do it one way or another. Maybe it will not be your like full-time job, but you have to do it, right? Even if it is administration. And the other things is if you like the science and machine learning, then you can pick one of these optional courses, and you will find yourself that okay, you want to pursue that field or not. But again, if you find yourself in IT, doesn't, this is not enough. You have to find out which course or which field, right, to join and to pursue, right? And there is nothing like wrong in this way, right? Right or wrong. So you have to try it out and find yourself.
Yeah, because I think, Sami, you even mentioned you were in data administration, you were also in cybersecurity. These are all
Yeah,
different areas, right?
not really. It looks like,
Hmm.
but in cybersecurity, there is database security, right? So it's not really far, right? And there are some links there, as well as even in threat analysis, there is the scanning. After scanning, there is also uh, scripting with the database called asset report in cybersecurity. Again, it's not just in IT is a little bit related, and also it's not very good idea back there to join cybersecurity without like having knowledge in databases and operating systems and networks. So as well as sometimes in development or coding, right? So they prefer it. That's why in some of the degrees here, they will teach you databases. Even if it is in cybersecurity, they teach you databases because it is the asset of the organization, right? If there is an intruder or hacker, at the end of the day, he will find the data, and this is what he is looking for, right?
Really,
If
really interesting. Oh, sorry, Osama, you can go ahead.
yeah, wallahi, Sami, thank you so much. Like I have so much to ask. We have so much to ask, but so little time. That's the
Yeah.
only down part. Maybe to follow up in terms of advice for youth, what would you say is the biggest thing you attribute to your success in your career so far, landing in your career, um, advancing in your career, especially in IT or tech? Um, and what are some tips you can give on that?
Yeah, IT is changing and evolving right rapidly. So you have to update yourself, right? Getting like the with certification, for examples, projects. These the two things that I believe it helps me back there and even here. So sometimes, for example, in the cloud, it's very, very useful to have one or two certifications, right? If not, at least contribute in a project. So these are mainly the two factors that can help you a lot to build up your career.
Okay, great. So from what I took was that is being up to date in terms of the technology because it's changing every day. So a
Yes.
person who's just up to date with the frameworks and the technologies and just keeping in tabs and maybe practicing. Thank you for
And I do want to ask just one more thing for you.
Yeah, go
So, of course, a lot of people, when they're thinking about career, one of the main things that they're thinking about is how much money am I going to make? People are always thinking about the money. So I just want to know, like, how much of that do you think should be a thought, or do you think it's more important to choose a stream or an area of focus that you're actually interested in? Because like we see with artificial intelligence, the growth of artificial intelligence, it could possibly be a very lucrative career, right?
Yeah.
But I guess how do you decide what the right stream is in terms of your interests and the money that you can get?
Yeah, no, you cannot neglect the money part, right? So it should be there, right? Because you will find so many courses for career change, right? People coming from administrations, finance. I know people coming from accounting backgrounds, right? They did the courses in career change and picking IT just because of the money, right? Which is some like, it's fine. It's not something wrong here. But you have to find your capabilities, right? So in AI, it includes a lot of again science as well as coding, right? So if you can do it, then that's good. Some people they're looking for money, like I know some of them here, but they also change their job from development to DevOps, right? And they end up earning good money, like 120, something like that, in that range, 110. But this is within their own, within their own capabilities. They know that they can do it because a little bit of coding, not too much, a little bit of scripting, and they understand what they have to do with the CI/CD, which is part of the DevOps, right? Which is fine. But moving to artificial intelligence, if you can do it, and you feel like you like it, then it's fine. And I think it's good field to expose and take it as a career. And there is another thing: there are not so many jobs in. Yes, there is like kind of what do you call expectation, like in 2025, something like this, number of jobs will be increased in AI. And if you check so many websites, but if you're looking for you open like the like you're looking for a current job in Indeed, there are not so many posting like comparing with other jobs, like with DevOps, with the full stack developers and so on. So you have to take this into consideration. Look for the jobs if they are there, and if you like it, try yourself, and the money should be there. You should not, take that away from the equation. It should be there, because otherwise, if you're not making enough, you might do another career change courses, right? And move to another course. But yeah, so I can see you have to balance this out, right? Consider your what you can do, and also try it out, as well as it should be something that available, right? So not something might be if you are looking for jobs in Canada, right? So you might find a lot of job listing in AI for this year, 2021, maybe 2025, yes, right? So this I could consider it as good ways to consider money as well as your career path.
Thank you for that. And just for time purposes, we'd like to ask anyone who's watching and listening right now, please, if you have any questions for Sami and any of our other presenters, just take note of them, save them. We're going to have a question and answer period at the end. All right, guys. So Sami Burhan, thank you so much for joining us today. Your words are really wise, and inshallah, you've inspired some people. So thank you.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Okay. So, Osama, would you like to introduce our next guest speaker for today?
Yes, gladly. Marwan, I'm enjoying this session. So many questions, but so little time again. But I'd like to welcome our next speaker, Brother Sadat. So, Brother Sadat is a senior analyst at ADMS Dental. So, without further ado, Brother Sadat, the floor is yours.
Hi, assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Salam.
My name is Sadat Abdul Qadir, and I'm currently, my background is in computer science. I did my degree in computer science, and my recent master, I finished my MBA, and that's in marketing. So I have my career has been moved into different shifts. I have kind of 15 years plus of experience when it comes to IT and business. And I'm quite, I know Sami, and my IT experience it goes back, in Saudi. So I started as a system engineer. So my background was in database administration, but the first job I got is as a system engineer. So trying to learn networking and systems, that was the first job I did. But after that one, I moved to software implementations. So I worked with Procter & Gamble for software implementations and managing databases and analytics. So that started actually mostly my interest in terms of database administration and also analytics. Mostly I'm interested in analytics and kind of predictive modeling, data science, and this part of the IT part, and also software implementations and business process analysis. And later on after that, actually, I moved into CRM. That's also one of the key parts for me as a passion. CRM implementation. CRM is customer relation management, and customer relation management, most of the time, most of the people, they think of customer relation as a customer service, while when it comes to the organization's customer relationship management, actually it is a cross-functional organization where you work in each and every channel and every touch point of the customer. So you try to work both in every channel and every touch point of the customer to improve those processes. And you try to integrate the business processes, the technology, because in every business, IT is an enabling solution, right? It enables the business to move forward, either in terms of automation or either in terms of giving you more insights about your customers or your products or whatever you are doing. So that one was, I think, for almost 9 years or 10 years, I worked in CRM. So in CRM implementation and later on in CRM data analytics and later on in developing predictive modeling and data analysis. So that is kind of an introduction part for me.
Yeah, very interesting. So your background is in computer science. So you do qualify, I guess, for a lot of like machine learning, data science jobs. Would you say people can easily transition into, like, let's say, data science jobs or machine learning jobs if, let's say, their background is not necessarily in computer science? Do you find a lot of people who want to pursue a career in data science who don't necessarily have a degree per se in computer science? Maybe they go through a boot camp or like a course or a certification. Is that possible?
I think, yeah, I mean, when it comes to possibilities, it's always up to the will of the person, right? If you are determined to put the efforts and the time to do something, and then you'll be able to achieve that one. But when it comes to data science, I think the main components of data science are statistics. You need to have at least understanding of statistics. You need to know what is regression, what is probability, what is the, because all of the models are statistical models, right? So you need to have some kind of an understanding about a concept about statistics. And then you need to have also some programming skills. You need to know how to code. So those are the two key components. And on top of that one, I think also is the industry which you are working on. Because you need to know there has to be a need, especially when you are working as a data scientist. You're going to look into different kinds of patterns from the data. Right? You're going to have all the data and then you're going to create different patterns. So if you want to read some of the patterns, you need to have a kind of a business, something driving force. You are trying to look for something in this data. So I think that's also the three parts where you need to have in developing. So, but out of, I think when you go to the industry, that is where it depends, like in the industry or in the organization you are working. But if you are like a fresh graduate and you want to be a data scientist, yes, you can still go ahead. But you need to learn first the data analysis part of it. And then from that, you can, I think there are different models because there is a lot of data, open source data from COVID kind of modeling, right? The kind of modeling which we have every day, we are hearing from different provinces, the prediction, what's going to happen, all this kind of stuff. So from those ones also, you can start to build and advance, like, because data is it. So if you have the data and then if you have the knowledge, then you can start working on that one. So I believe, yes, I mean, you can still pursue those kind of careers in data science.
Yeah, and I have a question for you, Sadat, is
Yeah.
what are some of the challenges that you faced when you were trying to either climb in your career or maybe even at the beginning of your career, going through schooling? What are some of the challenges that you faced? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the first challenge is, I think, especially after graduation, if you don't have a good community or a good network, and it's very challenging to find the right opportunity. Because I think the good thing about here in Canada is there are internships, and a lot of the companies, they take internships or co-ops, or you have these programs. So if you go to an internship and you were not able to land your first job there, then it's going to be difficult for you to find another job, right? So that was the first thing. And I studied my degree in India, and my job was, I went to Jeddah in Saudi, and I was trying to find a job in somewhere, like, it's the same thing in Canada here. Like, you come and then you don't have any network, and your experience and everything, it doesn't count. So it is kind of difficult sometimes if you don't have the proper networks. So most of the time, that's what I believe. Networking is one of the key parts, and it's the challenging part, I think, for most of the new graduates. It will be because once they go out of the college, and if they don't have good networking, they will have the challenge that some of them, they might get forced to change even direction or careers, right?
Yeah, and that's something I've even come to grips with myself, is learning the importance of networking. I mean, they say it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? And usually that's how you get that's how you find out about opportunities that may not be posted on a public platform.
Yeah, that's what they say. 80% of the jobs, they are not posted anywhere within the organizations. And if you want to get a meaningful career or job, most of the time it is through your network, because we all being like, when I was in Saudi, I was working as a business process and technology general manager. So I was hiring a lot of people, but the people I hire, I always prefer they come through someone I know, not from LinkedIn or some other headhunting groups, right? So that's also the difficult part. And the other part is, if you are in, that's one part of the issue. Yeah, networking is a big thing.
Sorry, I have a follow-up question, and I'm sure this doesn't only relate to tech. It probably relates to all other industries. But it's interesting you said that it's important to your network, right? You would prefer to hire someone, for example, that maybe someone else told you about, or someone you know. It would just be better. You'd be more comfortable because you know them.
Yeah.
So how do you develop that network as a person who, let's say, is fresh out of university or doesn't have that network? You just maybe focused on your schooling. You maybe have one internship, maybe you don't, and you're trying to get into that sort of. You're trying to build your network so you have a solid case for when you're applying to jobs. So how do you go about developing that?
I think that's a very good question, and that's always what every one of us asks, like, how are we gonna build our network? So we try to connect people with in LinkedIn or somewhere, some of the social media networks, and then they might accept you. Even sometimes you send them a message, they don't reply. So what I see most of the effective networking is that attending events. Trying to go, there are a lot of organizations here, they have a lot of events. So going and attending those events, it gives you into meeting like the same kind of people. Like if you are a business analyst, go and attend those IIBA events. they have events every now and then. And if you are into data science, there are a lot of people, they do events, and some of them even they try to show off whatever they are trying to do so that they can get feedback from people. So there are a lot of events. Attending those events will allow you to meet people and to get into knowing each other. So once you go out of those events, you will be able to meet people, and then there will be like a name to that person, right? So they know you later on when you try to contact them. You know where they work, you know what they are doing, and you start to, expand your network based on that one. So, and the other part is also there are other organizations also, they have these mentorship programs. If you attend also those mentorship programs, also they might help you. I think most of the colleges or universities also, they have mentorship programs. Those ones also, they help you into identifying, into getting to know people into the sectors. And I believe like one day also we have a better chain community where we have a network of people where we will be able to help. And because the network, what he will do is that he's not going to get you a job, but he will try to get you that opportunity is there. And if he can get you the interview, then you'll be lucky.
Yeah, and it's funny you bring up the mentorship, because we also recognize how important that is to have that person with experience who has been through the storm to kind of coach you and to teach you. And that actually CEYD is currently developing our own mentorship program, because like you said, we also recognize that as an Eritrean community, we have to help each other. And alhamdulillah, we have many professionals like you, like Sami, like Khalid. We have a few mentors actually volunteer already to be mentors, doctors, nurses, people in IT. So alhamdulillah, we are in development of our mentorship program, and that is kind of the future that we're hoping for, a future where people can, young teenagers or people in university, if they need that assistance, that mentor, they can come to our community and find someone in our community who will help to guide them. So this is currently in a process right now, and inshallah, very soon we'll be launching that. So thank you for saying that, because it's really important.
Yeah.
I did get a question in the chat, and I think this was a question for you, Sadat. You mind if I read it to you?
Yeah, of course.
It says, this is from Yunus. Yunus, thank you so much for your question. Assalamu alaikum. I am an IT student, and I am studying network and database administration course in college. And I am also studying online database administration courses like database admin, SQL, MySQL for data analytics and business intelligence. Are you familiar with some of these things, Sadat?
Yeah, very familiar.
Okay, of course, yes. I needed advice on what kind of certificates do I have to get a job in database administration. So what kind of certificates would Yunus need to get a job in database administration?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Yunus. And I think also there is a mix up in the certification, because Yunus, you are talking about the business intelligence and the analytics part of it, and then you want to be also a database administrator. So there are differences actually. If you want to be a database administrator, there are different certifications for most of the database administrations. Like if you want to be an Oracle database administrator, then you have Oracle DBA, trackpad, you have the clouding or the certifications of Oracle. And if you want to be a Microsoft database administrator, then you can go for Microsoft certification of database administrations of MS SQL. But if you are studying into business intelligence and analytics, you are saying that combined with Tableau, Tableau is a BI tool. And also you are doing, if you want to do for business analytics, I think the best way is that to go more into kind of analytics certificates. I think mostly it is better to study SaaS, software as a service. They have, I think, analytics certifications, and they have also, you better go for a BI intelligence, business intelligence certification, or you can go also, as what we were saying, into data science and those kind of paths instead of database administration. Because there is a difference, I think, in database administration, because database administration is mostly pure technical in terms of you will be working in the background in IT department, doing backups, doing all the performance tuning, database issues, doing all those kind of stuff. But if you are trying to work in business intelligence, you're going to work with the business. You need to identify those business problems. You need to create different KPIs, different matrices. You need to build data marts, and then you're going to have all these dashboards and everything using Tableau or any other software. So business intelligence is mostly, if you are interested, because that's my area, mostly I'm interested. I work in a business. I don't work in IT department. I'm mostly in digital transformation and business process improvement and that part. So data intelligence, those are the areas where you can work on. I believe you can work as a business analyst, and then you can still work in data analysis as well.
Jazakallah khair. Yunus, I hope you're listening and taking notes, huh? This is great advice.
I hope so. I hope so. I gave you a kind of an answer, different answer actually.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm glad that, first of all, that the question was asked. And I think this is a great opportunity, like you were saying about networking. This is the perfect opportunity for anyone who's interested in these careers to dig in the brains of these very intelligent professionals who are here with us today, because it's a great opportunity. So just for time purposes, we will be moving on to the next guest. But do you have any maybe a final word to say, Sadat?
I think one thing I want to say is that IT is not like any kind of field. If you are in IT, if you have the basics of IT, you can work in any industry. You can work in any geographical location. It is the only, I think, field that where you can work, either you are in the, it's not only specific to IT department. You can work in business as an IT consultant. You can work in any other industry, like, in medical field, in anywhere. So that's the best thing about IT. And you have a very open paths to go to anywhere. So I think that's the most important thing about IT and technology. And technology is changing everywhere, everything nowadays. And its growth is expected to be like a lightning speed, right? As what you have shown us, 334% in artificial intelligence. That's so huge. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so that's our second guest presenter, and I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. We're learning a lot, and for anyone, like I said, who's interested, you guys, we have now these connections, so please feel free to either drop a question in the chat or raise a hand if you have something to ask. All right, and now we'll be moving on to our third and final presenter.
Sorry, Marwan, can you hear me? You're just muted.
I think I was muted. I'm so sorry. Yeah, sorry. Moving on to the third guest, I wanted to say that this is a very special guest to me. This is someone who was grown up and raised in this community here in Canada with us. And he's a young guy, just like me, finding his way. And alhamdulillah, we're very proud of where he's come. His name is Khalid Wasak, and he's working as a software engineer. And I'm very, very glad to have him join us today, because I think this is a perfect example of, because I think Sadat and Sami, they mentioned that they were educated in other countries, which is a tremendous value. And I think Khalid will help to bring a perspective on maybe what it was like to be educated here in Canada and what his experience was like. So without further ado, Khalid, I would like to introduce you and have you come up and speak to the people.
Thank you, Marwan.
Thank you.
That was a very warm introduction. So my name is Khalid.
And I was born in Karen.
I'm a software engineer.
It's a very broad term when people use software engineer. It's essentially a programmer. So I went to Seneca College here. So I went to Seneca. And I studied computer programming analysis, and I graduated in 2014. I specialized in mobile app development, game development, in addition to cloud computing, so Azure cloud computing.
Hey, Khalid.
Yeah.
Sorry, just 1 second. The volume seems to be going in and out. Is there any way you can maybe, is there a microphone you're using right now, or?
Yeah, it's so, okay, give me a second.
It just kind of goes in and out. Sorry about that.
Strange.
And once again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. We're going to finish off the presentation with a question and answer period. All right, guys?
Is this better?
Yeah, much better, man.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Khalid.
Okay, so I was talking about IT.
You graduated in
so-
2014, you said, right?
Yes, so I graduated Seneca in 2014, software development. So my focus is the mobile app development, game development, and cloud computing. So iOS, Android development specifically, and game development with Unity. 3D design, 3D development as well, a little bit of that. I've also went to Ryerson and I've taken business technology management, graduated with a bachelor's of commerce. So I did grow up here. Software development is new. I did take, in high school, I did take Turing. So they taught a little bit of software development, but it's not the real thing. It's just a very small scale version of it. You get the idea of it, but they didn't really push it. So in high school, at least here in Ontario, it's not quite the same as college level. So what exactly do we do on a daily basis? Fix bugs, solve problems. That's essentially what software is. You're solving problems. You add new features, things break, you talk to business, you add another feature. There's just never enough. There's always more work to do. Like the business always wants to get more done than there is heads. And so there's always a backlog of things to do, which is great. And so with software too, is like when you go to school here, you're also taught various other fields as well within software development. So you also taught database, also taught security, privacy. So all those things go under the bracket of software development. Also web development as well. So you'd have to have all those skills when you go to school. Just because that's just how it is. Nobody would hire a developer who doesn't have that kind of background. And so you are taught that a little bit. And then from there, you could go and you could specialize in whatever subfield you'd like to get into. But now schools, what they have what's called professional options. And so you could do the main courses, And then in your final year, you specialize in your niche. And then from there, like the other gentleman was talking about, it's important to have co-op or some type of experience, because when you graduate, it becomes a little bit difficult and challenging to secure a position without the experience. Just like nobody would hire a lawyer without a new lawyer, nobody would hire a new lawyer, or a lot of people would be reluctant to, rather. The same thing goes with a developer. It's a developer without much experience, it's very difficult. So one thing I would recommend to people who are in this field or in school is I would look into creating projects or just have something to show. So that would go a long way. Again, to co-op if that's something you're interested in. But again, I believe a lot of with software, a lot of people mistake just day to day. It's a lot of it's sitting behind a computer. That's a lot of what the job is. But it's solving problems. It's everything a computer does. Somebody has to tell the computer every little thing to do, and so the tedious small details people don't even realize have to all be coded and programmed and tested. So there's various phases and stages to the life cycle of software development. And so I think that's very important. I did see it's very popular here. A lot of people would get into the field and they'll start software development, and it's not exactly for them. And so I believe, just like you said earlier, Marwan, it's good to start early. It's good to start early, and it's good to, because again, you can practice, you can start early, get the basics of it. You can start coding. There's really nothing stopping anyone from coding. Just the internet is there, and there's so many resources, like you were saying, the Khan Academy. So I believe that's a resource that people take it for granted. So it's important to get that grasp and download the tools and just get started and just get a feel for it. So that's the number one advice I give people who are considering software development, because I know a lot of big companies are pushing it. They're certainly pushing it, and they certainly have the interest too, and it's great. And it's great that they're doing that. But I think that one overlooked thing, a big overlooked thing with coding in these academies that I think people don't realize, is that it's normally these platforms and these content platforms and these companies that benefit from more developers that are pushing it. And they don't exactly realize that. And so it's very important before you jump into it to actually get a feel for it. Because I don't believe everyone, it's for everyone. Like I don't know if it's something everyone wants to actually do. Like people like software and it's great, but when you actually get into it, it's very different. And so I believe that's the most important aspect, is before you jump in, is just get a feel for it and just get started. And not to forget that these companies do have their own, of course, their own, it's these big companies that are promoting these developments or just these coding classes. It's great, and everyone should definitely, I believe, should be taught in school. And the more people that know software, the better. But I believe like full out software development, again, building apps, and where we are right now is, I believe that's the specialized. That's something that there's a learning curve to it. So after you do get the fundamentals, there's different technologies. Like from jumping from iPhone to Android, they work very differently, and they're not the same. They're very different technologies. The way they work, the way they function, the architecture is completely different. But again, once you know the fundamentals, it's very easy to jump from one language to another. Like my background is C# primarily. The coding background, C#, Objective-C, and Java. However, it's very easy to jump from one language to another after you know the basics. It's not very difficult at all. It's actually very straightforward. It does take a little bit of time, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, and the one thing I'm hearing, the one common thread I'm hearing from all three of our special guest speakers, is that you got to try it. It's very hands-on. I mean, you'll like it. You know that you'll know that you're good at it, or that you have a knack for it when you actually go in and try it yourself, right? So it is really hands-on, and I think for anybody who maybe feels like they might be interested in it, you gotta go either on Khan Academy or find some different resources. There's a whole bunch of them where you can maybe go through some kind of a coding program or coding course for free. So that's a common theme I'm hearing. We did have a few questions coming in right now. Now, one question is, Salaam alaikum. This is from Iman. A general question to all speakers, and Khalid, of course, we'd love to hear from you first. Do you think that the university route is the only way to secure a job?
That's a great question. So what we've seen in the workplace is that a lot of the times people do have a formal background. There is a difference between like having a background in software development, actually going to school for it, and the academy and getting these bootcamp classes. Although they're great, when it comes to actually fixing bugs and debugging code, when you get into the details of it, it becomes a bit more challenging when you don't understand. We don't have that software engineering. We don't have that engineering background. It becomes more difficult to understand a problem and to be able to fix it. It becomes a lot more stressful. And so the more you know, the better you can do. However, if you can learn all that, if you can learn the software development, the actual engineering of the language and the actual software itself, then it becomes a lot easier. But if you just don't understand what's going on, if you don't understand the code and everything's a mess, and it just becomes a little bit more challenging. And so, although a lot of companies will hire, you'll see it very common. It becomes hard to get to the point where you can become VP of software engineering, or you can be at the point where you're mentoring other people. So it'll be hard over the long run. So usually with software too is what we see is there is a kind of a stereotype. It's usually a lot of the times it's people who are young. That's typically what we see is people of a certain age. Unfortunately, that's a lot of what we see, and people usually move on to other positions after they either manage, move on to some kind of business role, or they tell, like essentially they tell the younger people what to do. That's essentially what it is. They tell the younger folks or younger kids, this is how we like things done, and they overlook them. So a different kind of engineering perspective. So like an architect, that's one example. Or a manager, a project manager. So it becomes hard over the long run. But yes, to answer your question, I do believe it's important to have a grasp over it first, but you can certainly secure a job without formal university. That's definitely something you can do.
Yeah, because if you can prove that skill, or if you have some kind of a project to show that you know this skill, sometimes what you're saying is that could possibly be enough for certain jobs.
Yeah. So what employers are looking for is, number one, can you do the job? If I hire you on Monday, can you hit the ground running? That's what people are essentially looking for. How much training do you need to have? Do you know this technology? And there's a lot of niches too. Like when you get into, for example, like cloud development, are you doing Azure, AWS? And they have their own services and they have their own tools of how things work. And so you have to learn their technologies. And so there's always different layers to it. And so companies are looking, if you look at any of these job descriptions, they're always very specific of what they want. If they're looking for someone who has this specific skill. And that's why if you see the diagram earlier, you see AI, for example, it pays quite a bit because it's a specific skill. It takes time to master it. It takes time to be good at. So if a company needs AI, then they have to hire a consultant who specializes in that. And that's where salary comes in, right? And so that's definitely one route to go. And so the individuals who do go that route and they do become consultants in AI, then they can make a killing to consult there. And if you need someone, if you want to solve a problem for AI, if you're stuck somewhere and your team doesn't have that expertise and you're looking for that expertise, then the guy who comes in is definitely going to do well. And so that's what that's what it is. That's so again is when I think with IT and software engineering is it's a very loosely used term because it can mean various things. But at the end of the day, is when people go into software development, the ones who excel at it is they specialize in a particular subfield in software development. It's very difficult to be that person who carries so many different hats. You can have that one specific skill, but it'd be more lucrative and it'd be more better for a person's career to actually specialize in a particular subfield. So AI, I think that's a great field too. AI will it's definitely in demand. It takes a lot of time to do it. And people who are looking for that skill really, really need it. And so I think I can attest to why that costs quite a bit.
Yeah,
To have
and
someone
I
come in.
think Sami
Blockchain's
Berhanu,
also high too. People who specialize in blockchain and any new and emerging technologies where somebody like a specific person is needed right now. So sorry, I cut you off there, Marwan. Hello?
No, sorry. No, I was just saying, yeah, I totally agree. And you know, it kind of brings me to, there's actually a question here from Winnipeg. I don't know if your name is Winnipeg, but I'll call you that. And it is, can you ask which program language is easy to learn? So you mentioned that you did C major?
Yeah, so there's various languages to learn. When I actually, at least at Seneca, when we first started, we had C. We first started with C, and then from there we moved up to C++. I'd definitely say one of the easiest language would likely be Java, but the language doesn't matter as much. I wouldn't focus on the language. I'd focus on, because you could always move from one language to another. And the reason why they make a lot of people do C now is because it's one of the oldest languages. And if you know C, if you know C++, you can do anything. So there's C++, I'd say, is if you can master that, if you understand it very well, and if you understand like the actual software engineering part of it as well, like the memory management and how things work. Because with C++, it's a bit more technical. So you have to, without getting into details, you have to actually, you're doing a bit more when it comes to C++. The other languages are more helpful. Like they take care of a lot more for you. And so it's a bit different. But if you understand C++ and C, well, C is a subset of C++. So it's when I say C++, if you understand C++, then you can do anything. Like you understand software development. But if someone understands Java, who knows Java may not necessarily understand what goes on with memory in C++. So. Mm-hmm. I would recommend, to answer the question, I would recommend again, any language is great. Mm-hmm. I think the best place to start off would be C and then do C++. And if you love it, if you don't hate it by then, then it's for you. And I think that's the best. I think that's what they do in school is they start off there, and people who after they finish that, if you can stand through C++, you can do anything. So I'd suggest doing that.
Good. And that was actually going to be my next question to you, is like, how do you suggest people kind of start, and at least to see if this is something that they're interested in? So you guys heard Khalid. If you're interested in this, you know, I know that there's even books at the library, and I'm pretty sure there's resources online to help you with C and C++ coding, that language. So yeah, feel free to kind of search that up and see if that fits you and if this is something that you would like to pursue. For time purposes, Khalid, we're just gonna move on to a question and answer period, but I do want to ask you if you have any closing thoughts, maybe an experience that you would like to share, or something you'd like to pass on to the younger generation, something that you think can help them.
Absolutely. I believe, again, with software development, it's good to just jump into it and start out and just code. Again, that's the most important part, is, and there you'd have understanding, but I think it's important to know, just know what you're getting to and start it and just jump into it. I think that'd be the most fruitful people. If you jump into it, if you start it, read a book. There's many books on C++, and from there you'll have a better understanding, and you can decide this is what to do, and this is where I'd like to branch off after if I understand the basics. So I'd start there, and don't forget the soft skills too. I think it's very important. It's a very important aspect of soft skills for software development.
Yeah.
But foremost, jump into it.
So soft skills, you mean in terms of like being able to work in groups, being a positive group member, someone who is on time, being a good team member.
A little bit of that. A little bit of that, but the people who do well typically is they're able to communicate with people who aren't software development. They're able to communicate back and forth. This is what needs to be done. This is how it should be done. This is the timeline of how it should be done. That's very valued by business. If you can be that person who could also be the liaison and not have someone else there, and you can take the directions and you could understand the scope and you can understand the project and communicate that back, articulate that without much barrier. I think that's a huge advantage people should not take for granted. So being able to communicate and effectively communication. So the not being late and all that, that's also very important, but I think it's great. And I think a lot of people, that's something that can be adapted to, but communication is communicating with non-software developers. I think, especially with business, and that's very important. So that's an important aspect of it as well.
All right, you guys heard it from the man himself. This is really, really great advice that you guys have provided today, and I think that at least one person in this chat has had a change of heart, or maybe is now starting to seriously consider doing a career, because I think you guys covered so many different areas in IT, and you kind of explained it in a way that's pretty easy to understand and hopefully inspire some people to pursue that. We have some comments that have come in. Actually, Sami Burhan just wrote, "Wa alaikum salam, Yunus. Yunus, this is for you. Regarding database administration, Microsoft DP300 is a good one. Oracle certification also is valuable, like administration, high availability, and data guard. But I prefer if you can find an internship or co-op position, it will help you a lot." So that's for you, Yunus, and for anybody else who that could help. Brother Jamal, I got your message, and we do have another special guest with us actually, and this is touching on the topic that we're talking about today, which is coding. And alhamdulillah, we have an organization in our community called the New Six Toronto. They're doing great work. They have a soccer organization with a lot of Eritrean people, getting young Eritrean people active in the community. And I think Brother Mansour has joined us today. Brother Mansour, are you here with us?
Hey, assalamu alaikum everyone. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. I see a lot of familiar faces, and I'll be very quick. As I said, Jamal called me the other day to let me know about the workshop, and I did let him know that again to introduce our organization, the New Six Soccer. I'm one of the co-founders. We provide mentorship for the youth through soccer. So in the past, we've done workshops, field trips, worked with a couple of universities, colleges. We did tutoring program, and this past summer, we started a coding Python level 1 for beginners. And when we advertised it, we didn't know how it's going to turn out, but we had more than 30 youth ages 8 to 14. So to touch base with what Khalid was saying, first of all, Sami, Sadat, Khalid, Jazakallah khair for the topics and the subjects today. Everything that you guys mentioned, I did come in when Sami was talking. Sami, I know who he is, the one from the professor at Seneca. They all touched a point where the topics are very various, and in order to find what you need, especially at a young age, you need to start coding. And that's what we were like thinking, hey, let's start. And we were surprised with these 30 kids, like as young as 8 years old. They started learning the concept where by the end of the course, we did a 6-week course where they were already doing live codings in their projects. So from there, now we're starting a level 2 course starting next week, continuing the course. And as Sadat was saying, as Khalid was saying, that you need to jump in, learn, read. And I know we touch base with the kids when we're teaching them, but as he mentioned, I remember there are coding classes, whether they're weekends, evenings. There's a lot of courses that are out there that you can take that are like 6-week courses, a month, kind of like boot camps, where you can know if this is the right for you. So again, I don't want to take too much time for this evening. And that's what we've done, as I said, for the last, in August, the 6-week program, and we've seen a demand for it. So this is something that CEYD can do as well, maybe up and coming, see if there's codings and things like that, where there is a demand, and as young as 8-year-olds are going to be coding. So that's all I have to say.
Wow, Mansoor, this is amazing. I think everybody here is just as amazed as I am. I mean, the work that you guys have been doing, even before you had the coding program with New Six, the soccer league, and then Dalil Masjid, and the work that you guys are doing there. And now on top of that, with this coding program, alhamdulillah, I think we're starting to see a changing tide in our community. And I think that as a community, we're starting to take ourselves more seriously and understand that to get better, to move forward, we do need to invest in ourselves. It's going to take hard work. It's going to take planning. It's going to take investment. But alhamdulillah, people like Brother Mansoor and Dalil Masjid and New Six Toronto and CEYD and Al Ahibba and many other organizations across the country have been doing such great work. So Mansoor, thank you so much for sharing that. And also, Are, I see your message and I was thinking exactly the same thing. Mansoor, where can people
right now we posted all our information on our Instagram page. So level 1, we already finished the course. We're going to start level 2. That's going to be about 6 weeks. We're going to reintroduce level 1, again, based on, again, with the demand in January, because we're waiting for a funding. So there's a good possibility we're going to start in January. For now, we're focusing on kids between age to 14. We'll do, I guess, a Google Doc survey and see if there's a demand for 15, 16, 17, like late high schoolers. Once that's possible, it'll be in our website. I can post our website and our Instagram page on our on the chat there. And all our emails are there, our contacts are there, and if you can be on the emailing list, and we can provide you details when the next class will be, which again, tentatively will be in January.
Okay. So Mansoor will also assist in that, and we'll make sure to put that on our social media and share that at least in an email with all of our contacts, because this is a community effort. So Jazakallah.
100%. Thank you, Jazakallah.
Thank you. Let's see, are there any other questions in the chat that we've missed? Osama, you want to see if maybe there's any comments or questions? This was a great, I'm really happy to hear. That was the cherry on top. Mansoor,
yeah,
you just put the cherry right on top.
I 100% agree, Marwan. I'm reading the comments right now. There doesn't seem to be a question, but Mansoor did just type in the website, so www.thenew6.ca. So just go into the chat to check it out. Maybe you can copy and paste it on your browser. And also, Brother Mansoor, if you can also write the poll or the link to your Instagram page as well, that would be very helpful. We'll also have a contact section for CEYD where you can, ask us about the Python programming program with the New Six as well. So I actually myself have a question, if no one else does. And that question is to Brother Khalid. Coming off of Sister Iman's question, she said, general question to all speakers, do you think that the university route is the only way to secure a job? And you went on to say that if you graduate, for example, from a boot camp, or you don't have like maybe a degree in software engineering specifically, or computer science, then you will get a job, but the degree to which you'll climb up the ladder in terms of reaching a CTO level, you might not reach there. Do you advise people to maybe do a master's that is technical, or go back to do a technical degree if they know this is the field that they want to be in for the long term?
So are you asking if, for example, they have no experience and to go and do a master's or a bachelor's?
No, I'm saying someone who wants to transition, maybe they didn't take the conventional route, as in they don't have like a degree or like a diploma in computer engineering or software engineering. They perhaps did a boot camp, or they're transitioning from a different industry and they want to go into the technical side. From my understanding, you said that people who graduate from boot camps or courses and who know how to code will be able to get jobs in software engineering, but they're limited in the level of advancement that they can go to. So it's hard for them to get senior software engineering positions or to reach a CTO level. So what would you advise people who want to be in the technical field for the remainder of their career, let's say, but they don't have a degree per se in software engineering?
Well, every case is certainly different. It's also because at the end of the day is that if you're competing against someone who has a master's and somebody doesn't have a software engineering background, it becomes a lot more challenging. And if you look at all these companies who they get paid north of $250,000, is that a lot of them, or even for an architect, actually, even 120 is a lot of them, they do have the engineering background. And so that's statistically what it is. But again, every case is certainly different. But I would recommend, it's one route one can go is to actually do one of these boot camps. And it's, again, these boot camps are great. I'm not knocking them. It's very important to do them at a young age. And they have a tremendous value just because of how much you can learn. And so doing these boot camps is one option. And after you get the job, you can work towards that undergrad or the master's, whatever formal education. So doing that while you do have the job and you use the boot camp, whatever skills you have, because at the end of the day, it's the employer wants to hire someone who can do the job, and somebody who's competent and can do the job and can prove they can do the job won't have much of a difficulty landing a job. And from there, I think it'd be important for that person is to actually upgrade it, look to better themselves and look to be as competitive as possible, just to secure their future and just to be able to excel and to always climb up. Because at the end of the day, nobody really stays the same position for too long. People do tend to move on, especially in IT. Actually, it's actually very common for people to leave the job. Most people don't stay for more than a year and a half, 2 years. It's what happens is that there's IT poachers, and they'll contact people and they'll say, "Hey, I can get you a better job." This, that, and people leave their positions. It happens very often. It's people typically don't stay longer than 2 years. So you'll have a headhunter contact you on LinkedIn or whatever way they do, and people don't stay for too long. And so having that formal education just makes it a little bit easier. But I wouldn't, again, I wouldn't say that this is the only way to do it, but one to consider is to take the boot camp, get the skills for the specific job, and then work towards that post-secondary education. If it's online, if it's part-time, you can do that on the side. And then after you have your degree, you've already have the experience of 4 or 5 years. So you have that experience, and it would be a breeze to go through the degree. So that's a route I would certainly consider. You'd be much more competitive after your 5 years. So you're almost a senior engineer at that point. So that's definitely a route to consider.
Yeah, that's a smart tactic. And also it's like, I guess it's low risk because you're not really going into something that you don't like, or you're not even sure of. If you've done the boot camp and you know you like it, you've kind of asserted yourself as like, yeah, this is where I want to go. And like you said, with that experience and with the job experience, hopefully that you have, upgrading yourself and maybe getting another degree or a master's, that's just going to help you to climb the ladder even easier, right? So that's a great strategy for sure.
Absolutely. So and when you're done school, you won't have that time. You've already have the experience, and so you can do whatever you like at that point. So your skills are portable. So that's the beauty of IT. It's very portable.
Okay, I'm just reading through the last couple of comments, and we'll be wrapping it up soon, you guys. This is a great presentation, and alhamdulillah, I'm so glad you guys all joined us today. Okay, and actually, before we wrap up, I just want to quickly say that on November 28th, which will be a Sunday, we'll be hosting an event in Toronto, and it will be a fundraising dinner. And this is for our orphan sponsorship. As many of you may or not know, we do have an orphan sponsorship program at CEYD, and alhamdulillah, we've gotten many people who signed up and are providing monthly funds to an orphan in need. We have direct contact with these orphans, so these are real children who are really suffering. And of course, your help could be greatly appreciated. So we're having a fundraising dinner, and it's going to be at Abu Huraira Center. And this is after Maghrib on Sunday, November 28th. Of course, you guys will make sure to send you the email. We'll post it on our Instagram as well. But this is just for everybody who's here. You're the first ones to hear about this program. So Sunday, November 28th, fundraising dinner for our orphan sponsorship at Abu Huraira Mosque. And this will be after Maghrib Salat. Eunice, thank you. Eunice says, thank you for the invitation and the valuable info. Thank you, Eunice. You had great questions today. And we're always here. If you have any other questions, if you want to connect with any of the guest speakers here today, we'll try to help you connect with them, all right? And also, Mansoor, New 6 Toronto says, looking forward to it, inshallah. Yeah, this was a great presentation, you guys. Thank you for joining us so much. Yeah, and Osama, would you like to say some words?
Yeah, and sort of to wrap off, like I said earlier, to contact us or reach us, you can just email us at info@cuyd.ca. Our Instagram is at cuyddev, and our website is cuyd.ca. So in our website, we'll be posting about our projects, specifically the dinner that's coming up to fundraise for our orphan sponsorship program. Alhamdulillah, we're almost at our goal of sponsoring 100 orphans, thanks to the community support. So we pray that that continues. Obviously, we do this with our partner organization, Ithar, and Brother Sultan, which is the Ithar founder. And Sheikh Abdullah Idris will be our guest speakers there. So please do come out, reach out and support. Also, if you have any questions regarding the Python course, again, that the New 6 will be hosting, please feel free to reach out to us as well. You can email us and we'll sort of forward the information to Mansoor and the New 6 organization. But if that's not, if that's all, if no one else has any further questions, then we want to thank you so much for coming out and enjoying this much needed career info session on IT. I know that I benefited a lot. I myself had a lot of questions regarding IT. Is that something I want to pursue? And I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the audience do, only because it's a surging field. It seems to be taking over a lot of jobs, especially in the business sector, a lot of IT consultant jobs, and just in general, it provides a lot of opportunity. So we hope you guys enjoyed and you guys benefited. Please share this video. It's been recorded, so please share it with friends, family, so they can also benefit. And do you have any other final words, Marwan, that you want to say?
No, I think they've been with us long enough. They're probably sick of our voices. Thank you guys so much. Wallahi, it's always so fun.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before we conclude, if we can give the presenters a final word, that would be nice.
Yes, most definitely. We definitely want to thank our presenters, Brother Sadat, Brother Khalid, and brother, I'm forgetting the name now. If you can help me, Marwan.
Sami.
Sami Barhan.
Brother Sami Barhan, yes, for coming out and giving your inputs. If we may request to perhaps have your contact information, as that way we can relay any information that people in the community have towards you. That would be much greatly appreciated. But we thank you so much for coming out and talking and sharing your experience and your feedback. Once again, thank you so much. And I'll leave it up to Marwan. Any final suggestions or conclusions, or Brother Jamal, if you want to give any final inputs?
If the guest speakers, if Sadat or Sami Barhanu or Khalid, if you guys would like to, you'll be the last word of our presentation, our special guest. We want you to finish it off.
Okay, I think like thank you very much actually for the opportunity, and it was really a good session, especially hearing from the new six and the activities they are doing and teaching the kids from young age coding. That's the right way to go. I think because technology is changing everything and coding is the basis of it. So there are lots of opportunities in IT, in every field, in every industry. You can, it's not necessary to work only on coding. You can work even if you have an interest in business. You can work in business transformation using IT and technology. So you have a lot of opportunities in IT. So studying IT is, I think it's one of the rewarding things than any other field, I think. Thank you very much, though. Yeah.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. Sami or Khalid?
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me. This is obviously a great opportunity, and it's certainly not something I know when we jump from, at least here, I can attest, from high school to post-secondary, there isn't that kind of guidance. So it's not there. And so it's really great to have that. If anyone has any questions they'd like to ask, they can certainly reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help. Thank you again, Marwan.
Jazakallah khair. I'm struggling to find the unmute button, I guess because I'm sharing my screen. Thank you so much, Khalid, for that. And yeah, I guess if someone were to ask for your email, maybe to get in touch with you, is that something you and Sadat as well, Sami?
No, anytime, I think.
Anytime, absolutely.
My email and all contacts, you can share it with the team.
Perfect. Jazakallah khair. So anyone who's still here with us, you guys hear that? You have a direct contact with them now. So you can just let us know, contact us, and we'll share the email with you. And Sami Barhanu, would you like to end us off for the night? Okay, maybe he's not available right now. But in that case, you guys, it's been long enough. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for your participation today. And seminars like this are only going to continue. And inshallah, we could even do a part 2 of careers in information technology. And we'll continue to do this, inshallah, to inspire our community. So thank you to everyone who's here. And I think now is a good time to wrap it up.
Thank you.
So jazakallah khair and have a great night. Salam Thank you, Muhammad. Thank you, Winnipeg. I see your messages. Thank you, Muna. All right. Jazakallah khair, you guys. Have a good night.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.